Hello and good morning, children, and welcome back to the lecture number 3 of chapter Life Processes, class 10 biology. This is third lecture and the topic is heterotrophic nutrition. Before we move ahead, we look into the portions which we dealt with in the last lectures. The recapitulation of the last classes are we dealt with autotrophic nutrition, in which we learned that plants require carbon dioxide and water to prepare food, for which an activity number 6.2 is referred to in the page in the somewhere in the page number 94-95. You will see in the NCRT book, in which this activity number 2 I have just as it is taken have taken this one activity from the book only, so that you can relate and it's nothing new for you. You will not be puzzled. This is about taking two healthy potted plants which are nearly the same size, keeping them in the dark room for some days. Now some places which each plant of separate glass plates, place a watch glass containing potassium hydroxide by the side of one of the plants. Potassium hydroxide, here the importance, there is a question which was asked in the last exam: what is the need of potassium hydroxide in this experiment? So this sentence can be underlined here, that potassium hydroxide is used to absorb carbon dioxide, because potassium hydroxide has a chemical property. It reacts with carbon dioxide and absorbs the carbon dioxide from the surrounding. Why do we need to absorb carbon dioxide from the surrounding? So that we can check what happens if there is no carbon dioxide in the surrounding. Then what happens with the photosynthesis? How do plants respond? Will the starch formation will occur or not? So here potassium hydroxide has been kept in one of the system, whereas it's not in the other of the system. Here no potassium hydroxide in this, and here is the potassium hydroxide labeled in this. You can check out in the figure number 6.4 of NCRT book. So that's where you can see that there is a difference in the two systems. Both are covered with one bell jar. Cover both the plants with separate bell jars and use Vaseline to seal them, so that nothing can get in, so that nothing can get out. So its entire system is sealed. Here pluck a leaf after some time. Keep the plants in the sunlight for about 2 hours, and then pluck a leaf from each plant and check for the presence of starch as in the above activity. You will see that there will be some difference between the formation of carbon starch in these two systems. We will find that you will have to find out answer. I will not tell you now. Okay, now you have to check which system will produce starch. After this, how you will check? You will go back to this activity. You will go back to this activity, and in this you will do the starch test. So basically this was also taught in the previous class, where we took a potted plant with variegated leaves, for example money plant or croton. Keep the plant in a dark room for 3 days, so that all the starch gets used up. Now keep the plant in sunlight for about 6 hours on a sheet of paper. Now blink them, make the green areas in it and trace them on the sheet of paper. Here dip the leaf in boiling water for a few minutes. After this, immerse it in the breaker. Now carefully place the above beaker in a water bath and heat till the alcohol begins to boil. What happens to the color of the leaf? What is the color of the solution then? Now dip the leaf in a dilute solution of iodine, and for a few minutes take out the leaf and rinse off the iodine solution. You will come to know about the difference in color of these two leaves. My dear children, this is the basic of all the leaf test which you have been doing since class 7 or class 6 also. So most prominently you were able to understand this in class 7. Now it's also taught in class 10. So please be there are two more experiments which can be set up based on this. One can be test for the sunlight, other can be test for simple starch test, and other is the chlorophyll test. So we came to know in the last class that chlorophyll and sunlight are necessary for photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is the green pigment present in the chloroplast of a plant cell, not of animal cell. Well, leaves contain stomata that absorbs carbon dioxide and liberates water vapor by alternate opening and closing controlled by guard cells. This is all what we studied in the last class. Today guys, we are trying to understand the holozoic or heterotrophic nutrition in the animals. Let's see. Here holozoic nutrition is actually little different from the other kinds of nutrition which you can see here. In this, we know that holozoic nutrition is actually a complex kind of nutrition in which food is actually not digested outside the body, rather it is digested inside the body. Okay, so in this case, if you see, then we come to know that food is first taken, then broken, then you can say it's absorbed, or it can be utilized. So we have divided this holozoic nutrition into 5 steps, no matter it's a unicellular organism or it's the multicellular organism, but in both the cases the process is almost similar. Maybe the method of taking in food or giving out food may be different, but steps which are followed by the living things is almost similar. You can check out the first step which is kept over here is the ingestion, which we call it ingestion. This ingestion means taking in of food. Taking in of food is called ingestion. Other than that, we also can understand here, my dear children, that after the food is taken, it has to be broken. Now, broken in means what? Broken in the sense of what? Broken in the sense of bigger particle into a smaller particle. So in that case, you can see that the food is broken down into smaller particle. Then what is it called? This is called digestion. Now after that, the digestion, it has to be absorbed, because unless it is absorbed, it cannot be transported to the different parts of the body. So that since the digested food is in the liquid state, it has to be diffused into the blood and then it has to be transported to the different parts of the body. So that process is called absorption. Now this absorbed food will go to the cell. There will be metabolism. Metabolism will lead to formation of energy. So that process will be utilized for the running of life processes. So that process is called assimilation. What is it called? Assimilation. Here another thing is that after all these metabolic activities, the waste product will be formed. Generally, after the process of digestion only, the undigested particles are sent to the larger intestine, and larger intestine sends out of the body. So here this part is process is called egestion. It seems expulsion of the undigested food as waste product. So in this way, the 5 steps accomplished under the holozoic nutrition, maybe of unicellular or multicellular, doesn't matter. There are the 5 steps of holozoic nutrition. Let's see the things in detail. Here, nutrition in unicellular animals is little bit different. In the sense what the unicellular organisms are not facilitated with the lot of in the case of unicellular organisms, they are actually made up of single cells. Generally one special thing is about amoeba is that it can change the shape of body, and it uses its finger like a temporary outgrowth on their cell membrane. That temporary outgrowth is called pseudopodia. Why pseudo? Pseudo means false, podia means foot, so false foot. So it occurs for a short time, and after that again it can be resumed into the normal shape, because and since there no definite shape is there, so due to the push and pull of this cytoplasm inside the amoeba, it can change its shape. So amoeba is a unicellular organism, can change the shape of body and uses finger like temporary outgrowth on their cell membrane called pseudopodia to catch food. You can see this is the irregular shape of the amoeba. It can change its shape in the different steps, you can see. But at the time of catching food or at the time of movement, amoeba originates or creates one set of finger like projection out on the body, right? So this finger like projection, can be told, can be said to be pseudopodia. So this generally, what do they eat? They eat small planktons, diatoms, and take solid food through the process of endocytosis. What is endocytosis? Look at this figure. In this, here the pseudopodia is originated like this, then the food is being trapped. After food is trapped here, it is sent inside the body, and in this the inward growth of the one is outward growth, this is one outward growth, but at the same time there is inward growth also. So this inward growth which leads to the cavity, temporary cavity will be formed over here. It will rupture at this place. After rupturing, this food is going to enter the body. So that inward folding of the cell membrane that leads to enter the food inside the body, this whole mechanism is called endocytosis. Well, after this, they store the food inside, ingested food in the food vacuole. This food vacuole is the place where the digestion and assimilation will take place. After digestion and assimilation will take place, then the waste product will be generated. Now after the waste product is generated, again the outward movement of the food will take place, the waste product will take place. That mechanism will be called as exocytosis. The combined state of exocytosis and the endocytosis we call in the holozoic nutrition, it's called phagocytosis. I repeat, it's called phagocytosis, PHAGOCYTOSIS, phagocytosis. So this entire mechanism of taking food and giving out of waste in amoeba has been illustrated right from here NCERT book. This picture has been taken so that it's no new for you. Little bit illustration is here. One important point to be noted: this area we are not writing ingestion, we are writing egestion. Kindly make your correction. So here, my dear children, this is the entire small brief mechanism of food feeding habit in amoeba. You saw that here also ingestion is taking place, here also digestion is taking place, assimilation is taking place, egestion is taking place. So in this way we can say there is no difference in the steps of holozoic nutrition even in unicellular organism. Well, in the contrasting to this, paramecium is also a unicellular organism, but the difference is that it has a definite shape. Since definite shape, that means it has got fixed spot, a specific spot for doing this nutrition mechanism. So they use no pseudopodia, but they use cilia. There is a hair-like projection on their body. That cilia is used for what? For catching food. Like here pseudopodia caught food, here cilia catches food. And this the entire mechanism then again takes place as it is, and then they throw out the waste product out of the body. You can check out the figure of paramecium in some informational sources. Moving out to the multicellular organisms now. Multicellular organisms, we have a special focus on human beings now. Human being is actually a multicellular living thing, my dear children. Human being is no unicellular. So here it cannot do the things as simple as that in amoeba or paramecium. Like a single cell membrane cannot help in the process of taking in of food, nor the simple diffusion can help them to get the waste out of their body, or like transportation of the material. Why? Because in that case the diffusion is only applicable when the two cells are close to each other, whereas our human body is a very complex and a very well developed big size organism. So in that case the cells are not close to each other, they are far from each other, where the diffusion cannot help. So in that case the transportation system has to be developed. So human body is a well developed with a set of tube like or canal like system, starting from buccal cavity in mouth to anus at the end. You can refer to this figure. There is a figure in your NCERT book also, but the little bit elaborated figure has been taken here. This is two sets of information given here. One is the diagram, another is the flow chart. Here is this canal system is called alimentary canal, and the group of organs involved make up a digestive system. So the entire picture is of the human digestive system. Following are the organs which are associated with the human digestive system. One is mouth. Mouth involves the salivary gland. Salivary gland is present in the three regions, and accordingly they are named, which is in the lower jaw under the tongue, there is called submandibular. It's inside here at the base. That's called the sublingual on the tongue, and right above there's the parotid. So parotid, sublingual and mandibular, three kinds of salivary glands are present, and they secrete different kinds of enzymes. My dear children, after that is followed by pharynx. Pharynx, here is the esophagus just near the trachea. Esophagus is just near the trachea, and after that this esophagus leads to the stomach. The stomach has got a company with the upper part of the small intestine, which is called duodenum. Right above this there is a liver. Liver has got gallbladder. Here this small intestine leads to the internal area, and then small intestine now joins with the large intestine. This large intestine now comes up to the temporary storage center, that is called rectum, and rectum ends in the form of anus. These are some of the organs associated with the alimentary canal. Here you can see in the flow chart that human digestive system starts from the mouth. Mouth consists of teeth, tongue, saliva, salivary gland. You can say that salivary gland that produces ptyalin over here. Saliva contains ptyalin. Tongue helps in mixing and moving of the food. Teeth is to break the food. We will look into this detail in the next slide. Don't worry. Now after the mouth opens into esophagus. Esophagus has the inner lining is secreting. Esophagus inner lining secretes mucus. That mucus helps in the free movement of the food, so that it does not rub against the surface of the mucus. It avoids injury. Alright. So it reduces friction. So how does the food go inside? That food goes inside with the help of one kind of motion that is called peristalsis. The peristaltic movement is the downward wave-like motion that helps the food to go down the stomach. Even if you hang upside down, food will not go back to mouth due to this movement, peristaltic movement. Actually, the nature of this muscle is called sphincter muscle. You recall this word in sphincter muscle. This sphincter muscle has got the habit of alternate expansion and contraction. So due to which peristalsis is successfully done, and due to which food goes successfully to the stomach. After that you will come to the stomach. Stomach has got a gastric glands, and also they contain hydrochloric acids. We will look into this in the next slide detail. What does the gastric juice do and what does the hydrochloric acid do? After that, duodenum consists of two areas. One is covering two areas, liver and pancreas. Liver secretes bile juice and pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, where the bile juice breaks down the fats, whereas the pancreatic juice has got the amylase, trypsin, lipase. They all have got different functions. We will see this in the later parts of this discussion. The small intestine. The small intestine has got own intestinal glands also. They get intestinal juices which contain these two enzymes, peptidase and secrets. Well, after that, rectum. The flow chart is very clear along with the diagrammatic presentation of the human digestive system. This will help you a lot to relate this with this. Alright, let's see what happens in our body. When the food is eaten, my dear children, first of all, what events do we notice in the mouth? In the mouth, we see the following events. First, ingestion. Ingestion means taking in of food. Then takes place mastication. Mastication means chewing of food and converting the solid into semi-solid. After that, initial digestion. You know, salivary gland is there, saliva is there. So teeth is breaking the food. Teeth are breaking the food. Saliva is also breaking the carbohydrate, which is complex carbohydrate, and then the bolus formation takes place. So here, first of all, let me give you a brief insight about the teeth. Actually, humans are diphyodont. Diphyodont का मतलब होता है they have got two sets of teeth which come subsequently with after one another. First of all, they get deciduous set of teeth first in the early ages, which breaks down, and after that it is replaced by the another set of teeth, that is a permanent set of teeth. So my dear children, in our mouth the dental formula for the deciduous teeth is 212. 212. It is of one side of the mouth. Similarly, it will be other side of the mouth also, right? So 2 plus 1, 4, 3 to 5, 5, 5, 10, 10 one side and 10 another side. So at the tender age, you have got the 20 teeth. But on the other hand, when the permanent set of teeth comes out from in the both childhood and adult, they will see the 2, 1, 2, 3. You add up 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 5, 5, 3, 8. 8 plus 8, 16 on one side of the mouth, other side of the mouth double. So total set of teeth in adult, it comes up 32. That's why we call it the 32. So this is the dental formula, 212 by 212, and here the 2123 by 2123. What is difference in this and this? In the adult, the both child with the molars are replaced by premolars. In adult, total is double the formula. That's how the dental formula is briefly. Actually, you should take care of the teeth properly, because teeth is the hardest part of the mouth, but it can become softest after the attack of bacteria. If you eat food, the food should be not stuck within the gaps of the teeth. It should be brushed properly twice a day, so that no chunk of food is just left out between. Otherwise, that food will decay and it will cause the breeding of bacteria. Bacteria will start attacking upon your enamel. Enamel is the hardest part of your teeth, but after that it's decayed, and then your teeth start getting decayed. So that is called tooth decay, and that's why it creates a lot of dental caries in your mouth. So please stay alert and always check your teeth health, so that you remain healthy. Well, coming out that here in the second event, what happens, food is broken by teeth into smaller particles and mixed with tongue. Tongue helps in mixing and moving of the food. Not only that, it also the mouth has got a salivary gland, where the starch is broken into maltose by salivary amylase. These are the events basically take place in the mouth. What happens when the food goes to the, now here I did not discuss about the bolus formation. Actually, the bolus is nothing but it's the semi-solid food which is easily swallowed by us. That's it. So the status of that food is becoming a bolus. What happens when the food goes to the stomach? Stomach, actually, in the between there is a gap, there is a distance of 25 to some centimeter. There is a long muscular tube which is called esophagus. Esophagus is having a very special sphincter kind of muscle which helps in the movement of food downward in the wave-like motion by the process of peristalsis, and that helps the food to go always downward. Otherwise, food will come back to mouth, and that's called vomiting. We don't do that, right? Because of the peristalsis. In that case, even the healthy person hangs upside down and takes food, it has to go to stomach only, as I said in the previous slide, right? So this food goes anyhow. Here one more thing I want to repeat, that some food is rough, some food is smooth, but irrespective of smoothness or roughness, we have the facility in the intestine, esophagus, that epithelial tissue of the esophagus keeps on secreting mucus. Inner lining of esophagus keeps on secreting mucus, which lubricates the inner surface of the intestine. That's how our intestine the esophagus does not get any injury due to friction of food. So now this food has gone to stomach. Stomach's function is to receive the food from esophagus and then killing of the bacteria and the partial digestion. How? Gastric glands here. Gastric glands secrete gastric juices that contains enzymes like pepsin, HCl and mucus. What does HCl do? HCl creates acidic medium so that any possible entry of bacteria can be just cancelled, and so the bacteria are eliminated due to the secretion of HCl. And you often sometimes feel acidity, so actually, why does this acidity take place? Because of the secretion of this HCl. When you are not neutralizing it, you are not having enough water, you are not having enough of the food, then or enough healthy food, then due to the secretion of HCl, your entire this HCl's effect is coming out in the form of that kind of outward movement of the air. So that causes burning effect in your chest. You take some kind of antacid and on acidity gone, like those kind of things. So you take it, and those are actually the bases or alkalis. Once they neutralize, and you feel relieved. So that's how the HCl is here creating an acidic medium in the stomach. Also helps in action of pepsin. So what does pepsin do? Pepsin breaks protein, and not only that, when stomach secretes inner lining of stomach also secretes mucus. This mucus actually also again does the same function, protection of the stomach surface by lubricating it, right? So this is what happens in the stomach. My dear children, even the stomach is opening into the small intestine. So the upper part of the small intestine is called duodenum. Upper part of the small intestine is called duodenum. This duodenum is actually the place where food mixes with the bile from liver and pancreatic juice from pancreas. It food bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from pancreas. What does the bile do? Bile breaks down the bile, you know, bilirubin pigment. When you often go to the doctor, you check out the bilirubin test कीजिए इसका. So the bilirubin is how much the bile pigment. It has a bile pigment which is helping us in fighting with the excessive fats. So fats digestion is done by the bile. So bile breaks down the fats into smaller globules. Okay. Well, another, you will see the leaf like structure. You go back to the slide, once in the previous, you will see this leaf like structure over here. This is called pancreas. All right, this is called liver and this is called pancreas. The liver secretes bile juice and bile juice is stored in the gallbladder. Bile juice is stored in the gallbladder. Well, so, and here pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. There is one another, this one mangana type of, yeah. So this kind of shape, I have given some humorous word for your changing of mood, lighter mood. So this is called spleen. What is it called? Spleen. Well, it's not relevant right now in this syllabus, right? You will have to understand that pancreatic juice contains two kinds of enzymes. One is trypsin and another is called lipase. Little bit of amylase is also put up over there, but here you have to focus on trypsin. Trypsin breaks what? Protein, and lipase breaks what? Fats. Okay, so the initial digestion of the protein is also continuing in the duodenum. After this, the food is sent to the small intestine. You know, small intestine is named for namesake only small. It's the longest structure entire in the alimentary canal, and generally what happens, the small intestine in once, if you recall the last lectures, you will come to know that a small intestine is 6 point something meter, but it's longest in the herbivores. Why? Because herbivores have to eat more complex carbohydrates like cellulose. Now this cellulose needs to be digested properly. When this cellulose needs to be digested properly, so it actually, for that purpose, it has to stay for a longer time in the intestine. So in order to stay for the longer time, the intestine has to be longer. So longer intestine is present in the herbivores, shortest in the carnivores. There is a one question which I will ask you later. You have to think upon and tell me. I will not ask it right now. I will ask it later. So here, this small intestine has got the event final digestion of food and absorption of nutrients, right? Glands in the walls of small intestine, SI means small intestine, secretes intestinal juice which converts complex carbohydrates into glucose, and proteins into amino acids, and also fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Again, glands in the wall of SI secretes intestinal juice from which convert complex carbohydrates into glucose, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Walls of the SI create several finger-like inward projection called villi. Here you remember the animal tissue. In the animal tissue, you remember epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissues are of four kinds, out of which one was the columnar epithelial. You remember that location of the columnar epithelial, they are absorptive in function. So that epithelial tissue is actually helping in the formation of villi. So this villi, which helps in absorption of nutrients and increase the surface area of the SI. Increasing the surface area means what? Food has to stay in the small intestine, and so in the larger area, larger amount of absorption of the food will take place. So that's how the columnar epithelium helps in the absorption of this. Each villus is actually containing blood vessel which is richly supplied with the blood, in which absorbed liquid nutrients get diffused. By the process of diffusion only they are taken in and absorbed. So the fourth third stage of the holozoic nutrition, you remember that first of all it was ingestion here, then the digestion took place till now here, then in the intestine only absorption is taking place, right? So absorption, and after that it is getting diffused and transported to the different cells in our body. In the cell it will be burnt and energy will be produced and it will be utilized for the life processes. Then we get to know the assimilation. My dear children, after all this process, a small intestine sends the food to the large intestine. In the large intestine, big events don't take place, actually just reabsorption of any water particle in that, so that there is a complete fecus formation takes place in that fecus formation, it has to be thrown out. So it's generally it keeps on accumulating temporarily in the rectum, where rectum also has got the elastic and bag like storage. So later on it is by the pressure it has to be expelled out by anus. It has to expelled out by anus. There is one term like appendix, which is generally it contains some small spots which is killing the bacteria, or the function is still not well known. But if the waste products are not properly thrown out of the body, then it creates a problem in our alimentary canal, and then surgery is only the option. Okay, so always take some roughage which prevents constipation, and it gives toning exercise to your intestine. Alimentary canal will be good, and it will help you to get rid of waste product easily, so that there is no problem of appendicitis later on in the bigger age. So all the children at this age, you must learn how to take food, how to chew food, how to brush your teeth, and how to digest food properly, and so that entire body mechanism goes well, and then the food waste products are thrown out of the body properly. Well, this is a summary of all the digestive enzymes which are present in our digestive enzymes which help us in our body. This is one which is first of all, let's start from the mouth. In the mouth we have enzyme, we are getting salivary amylase, which breaks down the starches into disaccharides. Disaccharides are the little complex carbohydrate. Starch is the more complex carbohydrate, which is polysaccharide. It breaks it into disaccharides. Di matlab chota. Or stomach contains the pepsin breaks down the protein into large peptides you have to find out. It's a monomer of protein. Well, after that small intestine. From pancreas we get amylase, trypsin and lipase. Amylase continues the breakdown of starch, trypsin continues the breakdown of protein, and lipase breaks down the fats. Well, small intestine contains maltase breaks down the malt sugar, sucrose sugar, lactase milk sugar. They all act upon the breaking down of different disaccharides into monosaccharides. So polysaccharides breaks into disaccharides breaks into monosaccharides. You find out these new words and you get the meaning of this. I will not tell you now. Okay. Peptides break down the dipeptides into amino acids. The final smallest product of the breaking of protein is amino acids. Amino acids are the monomers of proteins. My dear children, this is let's have a quick relook into what we studied today. We studied this one first. We are studying heterotrophic nutrition. In the heterotrophic nutrition, we studied the recapitulation of the last class. We studied the holozoic nutrition, which is a taking of solid food, and since the digestion is not taking place outside the body, so it has to be done inside the body. So it divides into 5 states: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. Well, in the second we studied that nutrition in the unicellular animals is quite simple. Like an amoeba, it does with the help of pseudopodia that can change the shape of the body. They eat planktons, diatoms, and take the process by the endocytosis, leaves the waste product to the exocytosis. And paramecium, they can have the definite shape. They use cilia. This is the entire area picture. You can pause and watch. We studied about the nutrition in human beings. Human beings have got the well developed digestive system because the simple diffusion is not enough for them, and cell membrane projection is not enough for them. So they have the well developed alimentary canal, and the group of organs make up the digestive system. Here this is the picture of digestive system, which starts from mouth and ends up till the anus. The flow chart is very clear for you. You can observe, pause and watch. The following events take place in the mouth. In the mouth, ingestion, mastication, initial digestion and bolus formation takes place. After that, swallowing of the food takes place. One more thing I just missed out to mention here, that while swallowing of the food, there is a door. which is a common door to two ways. One is the food pipe, other is going towards the windpipe. The common door is called epiglottis. Epiglottis keeps on opening and closing the one of the two doors, one of the two ways alternately as per the demand actually. So when you are taking food, the windpipe is closed, and when you are taking air, the windpipe is open and food pipe is closed. So my dear children, while eating in hurry, sometimes what happens, the chunk of food goes to the windpipe and our body is not able to digest, so it pushes it back by choking and coughing. So that choking and coughing is the quick response from the body so that the food can be sent back to the food pipe. So that's called Heimlich maneuver. You have studied in class 7. After that, we studied in the stomach. Stomach receives the food from esophagus, killing the bacteria and partial digestion with the help of HCl pepsin. And after that, you can also help in, you can see there is one sentence in the NCERT book, what helps in the emulsification of the food. Once you have to go back to the NCERT book once and check out that question. What helps in the emulsification of the food? So you will get answer, and please let me know in the next class whenever we interact with each other. I will put up in the comment box what helps in the emulsification of the food. Yes. After that, duodenum, food mixes with the bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas. In the small intestine, final digestion of the food with the help of intestinal glands and with the help of gastric juices, or the liver gives bile juice and all that. So this whole area you relook into it, and please also do self-study with the NCERT. In large intestine, the absorption of water, figures formation takes place in the and storage of the waste in rectum, finally expulsion by anus. This the another summary of all the digestive enzymes which are basically important in our entire alimentary canal can be seen in this slide, my dear children. So this is what we had to discuss today in this lecture. Keep subscribing to this channel and stay tuned so that we can be interacting very soon with the next set of topics. Please solve some of the questions which are in text, right? And also visit cbse.nic.in, in which you can go to the academic portion and you will get a lot of study materials related to your chapters. Also you will get some of the MCQ multiple choice question sets. Also you will get some of the various activities which will be very interactive and interesting for you. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay educated, stay home. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.